So today was a bit better than yesterday. I ended up reading 50 pages of the Downing Street years, and not quite 300, but I'd say just over 250 pages, a decent bit over 250 pages of travel amongst the great Andes of the equator. In terms of the book, I had fairly mixed feelings on it. I enjoyed the first part of the book, just initially getting into it. However, a lot of the chapters feel a bit repetitive. A lot of them are literally just named the first ascent of X, the first ascent of X, for the first ascent of. It goes over several different kind of mountains and climbing up of which. There are some kind of anecdotes in it, but a lot of it has to do with kind of more scientific stuff in terms of the topography of the mountains, kind of the height of the mountains, air pressure. He describes various different things, and of course, the reason I bought the book, the reason I was looking forward to it, was that I was hoping that it'd be basically just all kind of anecdotal, and it'd be much like the Mark Twain travel book that I read, kind of an amateur mountaineer, just kind of climbing these mountains, explaining what he saw, the people he talked to, again, putting you in the scene. But fortunately, it was much more dull than that. It had almost a kind of scientific undertone to it. For example, when he explained going towards one of the pyramids that he found, the first thing that he described was actually a French expedition out to it, the first people who found it, and how they measured the base of the pyramid, the height of the pyramid, so they kind of, not necessarily the pyramid measurements, but the strategy of actually measuring the thing itself, and also explained the number of artefacts they got from it, rather than talking about the actual pyramid itself in terms of the engravings on it, the shape of it, what he thought of it, his experience there. It was just kind of semi-historical anecdote about the first French people that went there, measured it, and the number of artefacts he got from it. Again, doesn't really put you in the scene particularly, and most of the other book was right like that. For example, he explained that one of the main reasons he wanted to go out to these specific mountains is because they were easy to climb, and he wanted to kind of test and work out kind of like altitude sickness, what kind of sicknesses were experienced at certain altitudes. He wanted to see if altitude sickness was really just a sign of fatigue, if maybe there wasn't such a thing as altitude sickness per se, but it was just the experience that came about climbing these mountains. So he thought he'd choose particularly easy but high ones to experiment with this with. I mean, he explains some of the kind of scientific equipment, the banometers and stuff that measure the altitude and so on. Again, it's a rather dull book. Naturally, being the book it is, there are some interesting anecdotes, but I was hoping for a book that basically just was a very long, interesting anecdote filled with little ones. Whereas I got a book that was rather dull, filled with, I don't want to say a few, but a decent amount of little anecdotes. Regardless, I didn't really enjoy it too much. It was okay, I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I bought it. I feel like I got something from it regardless. But that is what it is. I've got another book on Amazon's. Again, another travel book, and I hope that'll be more promising when I get around to it. Also, I spent a little bit of time on Discord. I forgot to say yesterday, but Lost made me a new channel on his Discord. I was just talking to people on that, kind of scrolling through that as I do. Anyway, that's me.